Well, hello friends. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today, I'm back with part 5, very long overdue, of my simple and cheap sustainable habits that I had for years series. This is a series that I have created a few years ago. Must have been, was it 2023? I think it was 2023. Geez, time flies, but we're digressing here. I created this series a few years ago with the intention of debunking the perfection around sustainability, because I believe that sustainability is often a matter of privilege. This is something that I have experienced firsthand at some capacity. A lot of the things that I used to do, that I was able to do years ago, choices that I used to make, I can no longer afford them. And that's just the reality of things. So this series just aims to encourage gently that it's okay to be imperfect, and it's okay to do small things that apparently are insignificant. Simple and realistic habits and small habits are not insignificant, but they are very impactful, can be very impactful, and can make a lot of sense when things like money, resources in general, or energy, time, you name it, are limited. So let's just dive into it. I used to be very against AI, and in many ways, I still am. At my old job, I was basically forced, or let's just put it this way, I was highly encouraged to use ChatGPT for a lot of things, and it made me really uncomfortable. I hated it, especially because it was allegedly a sustainable company, and so it was very contradictory to me. Why would a sustainable company use ChatGPT? It's really no secret that AI uses so many resources. It just literally sucks up resources from our planet. Please just excuse this little thing on my nose. It's a story for another time, I guess. I just wanted to say that literally everything that is connected to AI needs an incredible amount of resources in order to function and operate. The servers and the expansion and operation of the data centers, the everyday use of AI models, the manufacturing of whatever part is required to make everything function, and so on and so forth, require an incredibly substantial and ever-growing amount of resources like water, electricity, and raw materials. It's often used for silly, useless things that, in my opinion, really don't need to exist. It steals from people's original work without their consent, contributes to job loss. It's very often used as search engine, even though we already have search engines that can help you look for information. It's increasingly being tied to scams, fake news, misinformation, and all of that. So yes, I'm still very critical of it. But, and here's the hear me out part of this little concept that I'm trying to explain, I had to acknowledge something that it's a little bit more nuanced. A lot of things, and sustainability is no exception, are not just black and white, but there are a plethora of different shades in between. As someone with ADHD, there are moments in life, in everyday life, in very normal situations where I get completely stuck. It's very hard for me to take the first step of a project or of something or a to-do that feels very overwhelming and very big for me. I cannot bring myself to finish the details of a project that I already started and then it's almost finished. I procrastinate for days, weeks, if not months sometimes. It's hard sometimes. I am feeling very challenged in simple everyday things, and if you have ADHD yourself, you can totally relate. Sometimes even a simple thing like writing a professional email or some kind of important email feels like a ginormous, impossible task to do yourself. I have to recognize that in those moments where I'm really stuck, using AI in a targeted way, again, in these very specific situations, can help me, can reduce that initial resistance, can reduce the anxiety of getting something done, can help me get rid of that I can't bring myself to deal with this right now feeling that you most likely know very well if you have ADHD. So I came to this conclusion. Again, I'm still very critical of AI used in a completely mindless way, because a lot of people tend to forget that everything that you do has a consequence. Throwing pictures of you and your family on whatever AI tool and asking to modify those pictures to create something that actually never happened is not exactly my definition of mindful use. So that's just what I'm very critical of, that people really don't understand the consequences of using AI. But I also have to acknowledge that in very specific situations, if, for example, like me, you're neurodivergent or you're chronically ill, using AI in those situations where you cannot bring yourself to do things for many different ways can help you overcome those challenges that you face as a chronically ill or neurodivergent person. It can help you fill in those gaps that you are not able to fill in yourself. Or, for example, if you are self-employed, you're a small business owner and you do everything yourself and you are more than overworked, you do not have the capacity or the financial resources to outsource some of the work that needs to be done. Using AI tools to optimize your work can be something that helps you with a thriving business or maintaining your sanity for a change if you are already overworked and you have a gazillion things to do. So this is where I stand personally on the AI topic. I really condemn, and I'm still very critical of the complete mindless use of it. I don't use it for everything, don't even close, because I consider AI a tool. It shouldn't be a replacement for your brain. It should be a tool. It should be a help. I personally decide to use it intentionally, to use it sparingly, to use it in very specific situations when I know that it genuinely supports me in a way that I cannot easily recreate on my own. So I still ask myself twice before using it, does it make sense for me to use it right now? Again, AI should be a tool. It should not be a replacement. Also, I'd like to point out, I personally do not use ChatGPT at all. I was very on the fence about using it, but since February I completely stopped and I canceled my account. I never paid for it. Not in a million years I'm going to pay for it. The only thing that I'm currently using right now is AI tool from a company in Switzerland, and this AI tool is called Uria. Nobody pays me for this, and the reason I decided to use this and to pay for the subscription, which by the way it's still quite cheap because it's about 20 euros per year, is because this company is doing things sustainably and is compliant to data protection regulations. This is something that was very important to me, and I found a solution. I still don't think that it's perfect, but it's better than nothing in my opinion. Let's just continue this conversation about this because I feel like this is a very, very hot topic and I'm very curious to know what you think about this. So I'll see you in the comments. I'm just gonna try to rapid fire the next few habits for this video because I feel like this is already like so dense. It might seem that these next few habits that I'm going to mention in this video are probably insignificant and useless, but I don't think that they're useless because every single thing can be impactful if done every day. And again, this is not about perfection. This is about simple and realistic habits. It's such a very small thing, but it really does help them last longer. I went through a phase back when I was really hardcore with zero waste and all of that I was very keen on using glass containers and glass jars, but as a rheumatoid arthritis girly, it's very hard to carry all that glass with you sometimes. It's just so heavy. Plastic is just easier to carry, it's just much lighter. So I have some plastic containers and my goal is to make my very best to last them longer because we don't want to throw them away as if they were biodegradable because they're not biodegradable. So we want to preserve them and keep them lasting as long as we can. So what I do is basically I never use any cutlery inside of my food containers. If I want to eat something I'll just take it out of the container and I'll eat it on a plate or in a bowl or whatever. And even if a container is marketed as microwave safe, I don't put them in the microwave. I'm sorry, I just don't do it. First of all, I've seen microwave safe containers getting deformed over time. So at some point you just have to throw them away because the lid does not fit onto the container itself anymore. So it's useless. And second of all, I don't want plastic to leak into my food. So I just don't do that. Again, we have plates, we have bowls, we have cups. Let's use them. If I find myself in the situation where I do not have access to a kitchen with plates and cutlery and bowls and all of that, I just like to use this little spork that I had for years at this point to eat straight out of the container, because this one is made of bamboo, so it's much more gentle on the plastic, does not leave any marks or scratches that could deteriorate my food containers much faster. And so I also don't have the problem of potential little teeny tiny plastic pieces leaking into my food and then just ending up in my stomach. It seems like one of those very small and insignificant habits on a day-to-day basis, but over time it really saves a lot of money, but especially also reduces a lot of plastic waste. Next one is one of my favorites. I've been doing this for over a decade at this point, and it just feels natural to me. It makes everything simpler. It's less to carry, and again, as a rheumatoid arthritis girly, the last thing I want to do when I travel is to schlep around a freaking heavy 20 kilo plus suitcase. That's not gonna happen. So it's less to carry, it's less stuff to manage overall and less things to take care of. There's less temptation to overpack, but also to buy extra things at your destination to bring back with you. It just makes you overall more intentional with what you bring. It prevents overpacking. So I personally end up using basically everything that I pack every single time. And a lighter luggage also means less resources required to transport that set piece of luggage from A to B. And if you're traveling with low-cost airlines, it also means cheaper fares, because let's face it, low-cost airlines make you pay for literally everything. The only thing you don't pay for is still the air that you breathe and your personal item. So if you have smaller luggage, you are going to pay less money. If I need something for a very specific situation and I know that I'm not going to use it again, or on very, very rare occasions, I just try to borrow it first from my partner, my neighbors, my friends, instead of running to the closest store and buying it, perfectly knowing that I'm going to use it just one time or two times, and then I'm stuck with that thing forever in my studio, which is already small enough. So we don't have the capacity to store things infinitely. Just making that extra step of asking someone if I can borrow before going to buy, again, saves me money, saves space in my studio, but more importantly, it just prevents unnecessary consumption, because when you can borrow something rather than buying it, if you know that you're going to use it one time or just a couple of times and then you're done with it, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's kind of like the logic of one-time ingredients that you buy for just one recipe and then you're never touching again, and then at some point you have to throw them away because they went bad. Next one is also a favorite of mine. You know, I'm a thrift girly. I'm a secondhand girly at heart. I love it. I love purchasing things secondhand. I do believe that secondhand is fantastic for many, many things, whether you're looking for decor, for furniture, for clothes, for books. There are infinite options, and the planet is already so incredibly saturated with things. It's overflowing. So we definitely don't need to constantly buy new things. We can perfectly do with whatever it's already existing on the planet. I like this aspect, not only as a buyer, but also as a person who puts back things into the circular economy. So I like to sell things if I want to make a little bit of extra cash. I like to sell things that are in good condition, that I know that might have like a good selling potential. I've been using Vinted a lot in the last few years, and I sold so much stuff on Vinted. I genuinely like it. I think it's a fun way to put things back into the circular economy and give them a second life. I also like to swap a lot, either with friends or I go to swap events. It's so fun. You get to meet like-minded people, you chit chat, you discover treasures that otherwise you wouldn't have the chance to find, and you at the same time get rid of things that you no longer use or need, and someone else can take those things and extend their life and have a use for them, which I think is fantastic. I also like to donate to local organizations depending on what it is. Here's a little friendly reminder that charity shops and local organizations are not dumpsters. Just please donate things that make sense to donate. I just want to underline that very quickly. It's just a practice that for me has become so normal. You don't want to throw away things that still have some life left in them, that are still in good conditions, rather than just throwing them away in a planet that's already suffering so much due to the mountains of waste that we created. It just makes so much more sense to swap it, sell it, or donate it so someone else can keep using it. I've chit-chatted so much already, so let's just call it a day for today. These are my personal habits, my opinions on the topic, and this is what just works for me, and this is what I personally like to do. And this doesn't mean that everyone else should think and do the exact same things that I do. If there's anything of this list of habits, of things that I mentioned in this video or that I mentioned in the previous videos that you also do, then just share them down below. If there's anything else that you want to share, simple and cheap sustainable habits that you also have been doing for years, then I'll see you in the comments. If you have enjoyed this video, you can give it a like, you can share it, and you can subscribe to my channel if you still haven't. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.